Washington loves to pretend our divisions are simple Democrats versus Republicans, left versus right. But today, Congressman Tom Suozzi said something that cuts much deeper, and it should worry every American. He warned that the biggest force tearing this country apart isn't just politics or social media. It's foreign adversaries deliberately exploiting our divisions to weaken the United States from the inside. This isn't about red versus blue. It's about whether Americans recognize when they're being manipulated and who benefits when we turn on each other.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is such an important topic. I want to thank the witnesses for spending all this time here with us. I really appreciate it. Listening to some of the testimony here today and some of the comments from my colleagues, you'd think this is a Democratic problem or a Republican problem. And this is not Democrats versus Republicans. This is the United States of America versus our foreign adversaries. So I want you to all just tell me a yes or no answer. I hope you're all going to say yes, that you recognize this affects Republicans and Democrats, progressive organizations and conservative organizations. Do you agree with that, Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Ms. Sutherland?
Yes.
Ms. Stone? Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Dubinsky?
100% yes.
Mr. Weissman?
Yes.
Okay, so our country is so divided these days. People are being pulled apart from each other, and there are four factors that I've identified. I'm sure there's more, but there's four factors I've identified. One is we have all these safe seats in Congress you can't lose. You're the Republican on the Republican seat, you're going to win. The Democrat on the Democratic seat, you're going to win. So everybody panders to their base, because the only way they could lose is by losing a primary, and nobody votes in the primaries. Very few people vote in the primaries. So everybody panders to their base. That's a big problem dividing us. Second, social media. Social media rewards extremism. The more crazy things you say, the more extreme things you say, the more likes you get, the more followers you get, the more small dollar donations you get. It rewards extremism. Third, cable news. The most watched show on cable news is Fox News, 4 million viewers. Most watched show on MS is 2 million viewers. 350 million people in America. But these shows are not selling journalism or educating us. They're selling entertainment, endorphin rushes, in echo chambers, and the messages they give are completely different, further dividing us in our country. But the biggest factor, and the purpose of this hearing today, the biggest factor causing division in our country is our foreign adversaries, the Chinese Communist Party, the Russians, the Iranians, the North Koreans, who are using our freedom. Today we're talking about how they're doing it through not-for-profits, but also through social media, and they are feeding division in our country. They cannot defeat us economically, they cannot defeat us militarily, so they want to take what they see as being our biggest weakness, which is our diversity. And they fuel dissent in our country, utilizing the things that you talked about here today that affect Republicans and Democrats, progressives and conservatives, and they use our social media, and they send different messages. They take issues where there's some truth to it, like Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter, or evangelicals versus transgender, or Israel versus Hamas, and they give different messages to different groups, and they foment division. And they get us to all look at each other and say, what's wrong with those people? There's something wrong with you guys. So we have got to recognize this is not Democrats versus Republicans. This is America, the United States of America, against our foreign adversaries that are trying to get us to divide each other. And we need people like yourself to work together across party lines, the same as we need in our committee to work across party lines, to work to defeat our foreign adversaries that are using our freedom, that are using our social media, that are using our not-for-profits to try and divide us in our country. Mr. Dubinsky, I looked at your testimony. You had some very practical things that you suggested about reforming the 990s to give more information, to create more transparency. Mr. Weissman, as the Democratic witness, looking at Mr. Dubinsky, one of the Republican witnesses, do you support the idea of reforming the 990s to have more transparency, to give more information?
I thought his ideas make sense, yes.
Okay, Mr. Dubinsky, I looked at Mr. Weissman's testimony. In his testimony, he supported a thing called the Disclose Act for transactions over a certain amount that they should have to disclose whether there's foreign influence or not. Do you, as the Republican witness, support the idea of Mr. Weissman's idea of supporting the Disclose Act?
I do support the idea.
So why don't we get Democrats and Republicans to work together to save America against our foreign adversaries that are trying to destroy our country utilizing our diversity, and start working together to actually solve these problems, and stop making this about you guys are no good, no you guys are no good, no you guys are no good, you're no good. Let's work together and actually address the real problems that we face in our country. Mr. Chairman, I yield back, and I want to thank you for holding this hearing, and I hope that you'll get us to work together as a committee to actually find some common ground to address this issue, to save our country against the foreign adversaries that are trying to divide us in our nation, and stop letting other people try and make this into a political issue where it's Democrats versus Republicans. And I yield back.
Thank you, Suozzi. Mr. Yakum.
What you just heard from Congressman Tom Suozzi was different from the usual noise in Washington. And that's exactly why it matters. In a town addicted to partisan warfare, Suozzi made a point that cuts through the chaos. The deepest divisions in this country are not just homegrown. They're being actively fueled by foreign adversaries who want America fighting itself. And he didn't frame this as Democrats versus Republicans. He framed it the way national security experts have warned for years, the United States versus hostile foreign powers. Suozzi started by doing something rare in Congress. He got everyone to agree on the facts. Republicans, Democrats, progressives, conservatives, all of them are being targeted. Not selectively, not accidentally, deliberately. Then he laid out the landscape. First, Congress itself, safe seats, broken primaries, and a system that rewards pandering instead of problem solving. When politicians fear their base more than the general public, extremism becomes a survival strategy. Second, social media. Algorithms don't reward truth. They reward outrage. The angrier, more extreme, and more divisive the message, the more visibility it gets. Likes turn into followers. Followers turn into donations, and suddenly the loudest voices dominate the conversation, even when they represent a fraction of the country. Third, cable news, not journalism, entertainment. Echo chambers selling emotional endorphin hits to narrow audiences while 350 million Americans live in completely different realities depending on what channel they watch. But then Suozzi got to the heart of the hearing, the part too many Americans still underestimate. Foreign adversaries. China, Russia, Iran. These countries know something critical. They can't defeat the United States militarily or economically. So instead, they exploit what makes America strong, its diversity, its openness, its freedom of speech, and turn those strengths into pressure points. They don't invent conflicts out of thin air. They take real issues, race, religion, policing, foreign policy, and weaponize them. One message to one group, the opposite message to another. Always designed to make Americans look at each other and think, what's wrong with those people? That's the playbook, and it works best when Americans don't realize they're being manipulated. What made this moment stand out is what happened next. Instead of just diagnosing the problem, Suozzi showed something almost unheard of in today's Congress, actual bipartisan agreement. A Republican witness supports disclosure reforms. A Democratic witness supports transparency measures. Both sides acknowledge the need to expose foreign influence in nonprofits and political spending. No shouting, no grandstanding, just agreement that sunlight matters. That's the real takeaway here. Not that division exists. We already know that. But that division is being amplified, accelerated, and exploited by foreign actors who benefit every time Americans tear each other apart. Suozzi's warning is simple, but urgent. If we keep framing every issue as red versus blue, we're doing the work of America's adversaries for them. This doesn't mean ignoring real disagreements. It means recognizing when outrage is being manufactured, when narratives are being pushed to inflame rather than inform, and when Americans are being nudged to hate each other instead of solve problems. Because in the end,